Barakata Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is They've Been Telling You. And pretty much this is a title that came to me a few days ago. I forgot what it was for, but I wrote it down, and it seems to fit appropriately to this lesson here. And pretty much this lesson here is, it's based off of an article that was sent to me, and I was reading through it this morning, and I figured it'd be a good lesson to go through. Lord's will, it'll be edifying. I have to kind of tread a little lightly because this is a very sensitive, topic, on the YouTube. So I'm going to try to use some clandestine, speech. If you don't know what the word clandestine is, look it up. Pretty much it means, to be hidden. And we're going to start off with this picture that I found here. It's called the credit system. And this is pretty much what this whole society is heading towards. So everything that you see, credit cards, debit cards, the credit system, your credit score determining, the benefits you can and cannot get, or, the loans you can and cannot get, so on and so forth. This is all pretty much just a trial run for, the up and coming infrastructure or system that they are implementing in place. Now, I was watching the elders Ariala and Rakaya Kwam out of Dallas and London, and pretty much they were going into an algorithm and the update to the MOTB, and the brothers were getting down, bringing out information, and pretty much what is true is that you have the MOTB, which is the Karagma, but you do have to have a system in place, which is, we've been speaking about this, but the brothers kind of put it together, package it together, because they are the experts when it comes to that, as far as, going into all of that, all of them explanations of the credit scores and how the credit works and how, this and that and the other works. So if you are interested, you should go to, I believe it's GMS Dallas in class. If any of the brothers happen to be on the comment board, they could actually put the actual, either the link to the video or the page. All right. So pretty much, which, it's good to know, because you have to have an infrastructure in order for the Karagma to work, because it has to be interconnected, the IOB, Internet of Bodies, Internet of Things, so on and so forth, the fourth industrial revolution, as they call it. So what you're looking at here is just a triangle of the credit. You have your person that's, that's going to be eventually, which that leads to a whole, man, that's that right there, boy. Woo. It says you are a key part of the credit system. Your credit and loan accounts are reported to the bureaus, right? Because whatever you make, in order for you to build a credit score, it has to all be on record. See, you would think that somebody with bad credit wouldn't. I say somebody with no credit should be able to get credit before somebody with bad credit, but that's not the case. Somebody with bad credit will get a loan before a person with no credit, because at least the person with bad credit has a history with credit. The person with no credit has no history, so they have no idea who this person is, and that's what they're trying to do, get everybody online and on board in order to, pretty much implement this new world order. So it goes down to the bureaus, because whatever you make in credit loans and everything that you get is reported to the bureaus. The credit bureau collect, record, and distribute information about your credit habits, right? And in turn, you have the creditors, which are the ones that give out these loans, right? Whether it be for a car, home, whatever. It says creditors request data from the bureaus that have been recorded because of, you being on record, and they taking those records and put it in, into their database. Then the creditors request data from the bureaus about you when deciding what rates to offer you. See? So this is just like a basic, thing, but this is pretty much in a nutshell on a very minute scale, the so-called New World Order agenda, with the MOTB. And this has been in works, I believe, since the 80s when they first started introducing the credit cards. I'm not sure exactly what year that was that they started introducing the credit cards, which even back then, the Ansar Allah community Muslims, which used to be in the white sheets all over the different cities, because I used to speak with them, and they were talking about a cashless society back then. So I remember hearing that term, cashless society, but I didn't think none of it because I really didn't know too much, about anything. So, I just remember it now. So, it was kept in my mental Rolodex. But that's pretty much what it is. A cashless society means that there's nothing offline to be able to, for you to be able to do business or function. From your everyday life to being able to buy something in the store, to being able to get a job, to being able to travel, everything will be online, and everything's going to be done biometrically, which means they can track everybody. So that leads us to the next one. Here it says the social credit system integrates various types of data into its public files. Note, this is the note from here. This is the file represented in the National Credit China and Corporate Credit Information Database, because that's what pretty much set it off. China pretty much set off that credit system. There was a few years back, I say about 2015 or so, 2016. I'm not sure exactly what year. There was a Moabite that pretty much did things that the Chinese government didn't like, Chinese spare rib government didn't like. And pretty much what they did was they shut him out of the social system or social credit system. So it made his life miserable. He couldn't work, he couldn't function. He couldn't get on public transportation. Everywhere he went, he had to walk. I believe he couldn't even have a car because he couldn't have any credentials, a driver's license, insurance, and all that. So pretty much they made his life a living hell, because what they did was they shut him out of the system. And that's pretty much what they're doing. They're slowly but surely building something to where a system to where everything is going to be online, and the only ones that will be able to participate are the ones, or the only ones that will be able to get involved in it are the ones that participate or agree to the terms of the government, which goes into the MOTB, the Karagma, right? So it says here, while these are the model for national implementation, different formats exist and are shattered across different administrative levels. A significant portion, in some cases over 80% of this data, remains confined to these local portals. Source Credit China. So you have the social credit file, you have your basic information, you have other file information, you have irregularities, and you have key enforcement information. All right, so they have all of your data online, and it's all categorized. Right, so you have your basic information, which is unified credit code, name of legal representative, founding date, other basic info. So pretty much this is your basic information. Then you have other information, which is administrative permits, administrative penalties, irregularities list, and then key enforcement information. And this is what allows them to determine what they have in the memory bank. This allows them to enforce certain things, whether to allow or disallow. Then you have red list, black list, because pretty much what they're doing is systematically shutting people out that don't participate. And this is what the whole NWO is all about. This is what the MOTB, the Karagma, is all about. It's based on a worldwide event, which is a system a worldwide event system that if a person doesn't take that charagma, they're going to be totally shut out and pretty much left out there. So the only way to really function is to be self-sustained in the cases of Esau and the other nations, if they have that. But in the case of the Israelites, the only way to really survive this up-and-coming MOTB system is to trust in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And the Lord will have to intervene, when the time is appropriate. So, because Revelation 3:10 says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. So the hour of temptation is coming. It's going to come down to the wire. You're going to have a lot of different things that are going to be happening, a lot of events taking place, martial law, all of that. But the final, the final countdown or the final end of it all is that moment where, either you accept the mark of the beast or you don't accept it. If you don't accept the MOTB or the charagma, you will be put to death, or you will be locked up or whatever the case may be. And this hour of temptation, it says, which shall come upon all the world. And the world here represents the whole entire planet, oikoumene style. All right. It's the whole entire planet. And this is why you see this infrastructure going worldwide. And then brothers, they were speaking about how pretty much this system is in every nation. In I believe it was Rakaya Kwam that said that if you notice, all of these top governments were all pumping money into their economy, which means that every time they pump them dollars in, what happens? The money gets devalued. So they're purposely imploding the economic system of this world in order to introduce the MOTB, the charagma, which is the wave of the future. So it says to try them that dwell upon the earth. So, all right, so that's what they're pushing. Now, what made me think of this, or what also I thought about, the Spirit put in my mind, was different movies that bring this out, which is called predictive programming. Right now, predictive programming is a term that was coined by Alan Watts, which I heard that name before, but there's so much information, sometimes you forget. But the point is that whenever there's something that speaks against the government and the bad things that the government's trying to do, they always label it as a conspiracy theory. And it's no difference with this predictive programming. So it says, coined by conspiracist Alan Watt, predictive programming is a theory that ideas, situations, and new technologies are carefully written into movies, TV shows, and books to groom the general population into accepting societal changes. And that's the truth. And then they give you some examples of different pilots of The Lone Gunman, speaks about the World Trade, The Dark Knight, speaks about Sandy Hook, and Family Guy, which speaks about the marathon. So, there's many different things, but it's not a coincidence that these things are in these movies, and then all of a sudden, maybe 6 months later, a year later, 10 years later, 15, 20, 30 years later, they come to pass. Because this is exactly what they want to do, because the scriptures say that their heart is deep. They search out iniquities. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick, I have that on the list, but Lord's will, we could get back to it. Psalm 64:6. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and their heart is deep. Right. And they're not going to bring it. They're not going to say it out in the open. You're not going to hear them pretty much say it out in the open. Some of them have, but for the most part, they're going to keep it to themselves. They're going to keep it secret. It's the secret counsel, as you read up above. So going back, now this is just 3 examples. There's many examples of predictive programming, but one of them is the movie The Net. Came out in 1995 with Sandra Bullock. And they pretty much, her whole life was shattered because they shut her out of her whole, they stole her identity. They shut her out of, her accounts, her credit cards, so on and so forth. Pretty much they turned her life upside down. because of I forget exactly. She found something out and she was trying to expose them or something along those lines. I can't really remember I haven't seen this movie in a while, but pretty much they shut her out of the infrastructure of the time, and this is what they want to do. The next movie is the movie The Game. You had Michael Douglas. Now, it was a game, but it shows you how when they shut you out, they clean out your bank account. You can't use your credit card. They repossess your home. They take everything from you to where you can't move or maneuver or do anything. And this is pretty much what's coming. The inclusion or exclusion from society. It says, and the next one is enemy of the state. And an enemy of the state, once again, this one individual had some information that exposed the government. He gave it to Will Smith, and Will Smith's character, they made his life a living hell. They were tracking him. They were putting all kind of stuff on him. They were bringing out disinformation on him. They were demonizing him. They were saying that he was doing shit that he wasn't doing. He couldn't use his credit card. He couldn't do anything. To the point where he was just completely shut out. And this is what they plan on doing through tracking. So let's go from there. Let's go to this article. This is Common Sense, a social credit system arrives in Canada. Like I said, this was sent to me by a brother. It says, Justin Trudeau just created a caste of economic untouchables. Can we stop this dystopian policy from taking hold in America? And pretty much at one time, this guy was against, these different policies and these different things. And now all of a sudden, he's for it. So overnight, what he had a steak dinner, and the steak dinner had something in it that made him change his mind. Did he eat a potato, that made him change his mind? Or did he drink a bottle of wine that had these ideas in it? No. So like he's a puppet. And you have to have controlled opposition, what they call controlled opposition. And I'm pretty sure if you look controlled opposition up, they're going to say it's a conspiracy theory. Nevertheless, I'm going to try to read through some of this article. It's good, good reading. Towards the end, everybody's always trying to find a solution. Like I was watching Glenn Beck, Elder Ariala sent me the link, he told me to start around the 3-minute mark. And pretty much, they're going into how the whole credit system, and everything that, they want everything online, everything blocked. I mean, in so many words, you could watch it. Yep, controlled up, yep. And pretty much, there's everybody. All these Edomites, which, Glenn Beck, he might be Edomite, he might be a Jake, we'll find out. But everyone that doesn't have hope in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, they're looking for a solution to keep their country or countries going. Because they're trying to offer solutions, take your money out of these big banks, put them into local banks. But everything is tied together, man. Everything is tied together. This person here, try to offer solutions, as to, what to do, just to keep Esau's way of life going, because their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. But anyway, it says, last summer I warned readers of Common Sense that financial deplatforming would be the next wave of online censorship. Big tech companies like PayPal were already working with left-wing groups like the ADL and the SPLC, which is the Southern Poverty Law Center. And, this is the Small Hats organization. All of these organizations belong to the Small Hats. And if you notice, everything, it's the Small Hats pushing this narrative upon the earth because it's them. It's their agenda, because they're the ones that are in control. It's the scriptures say that Amalek shall be the first of the nations, and they are the top. They were also, when you go to the first fold of that scripture, they were also the first nation we warred with, but they're also the top nation today. It says to define lists of individual groups who should be denied service. And this is why you have all of these different articles by the Southern Poverty Law Center pushed out there, which is disinformation, which are lies, but they compiled information from different groups. That's why when these devils come out, you heard Elder Pastor I believe it was the last lesson he did. You brothers shouldn't be going to these news medias, and speaking to them, because what they're doing is they're not concerned about what you're about. They're not concerned in learning. They're concerned in gathering information that they can put into a data bank, so that they can use that to demonize all of that group, the different groups. Because you have in the book of Revelation chapter 12 verse 10, you have, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. And this is what they do. They go before the Lord day and night, accusing Jake. They do stuff behind, they think that the Most High is just like, he doesn't see. They do things to make Jake go off, but then they use that same shit and they try to present it to the Lord. And look what your people are doing. They're going off. They're being wicked. Yeah, but you're the one that's doing it. And when you look up the word accuser, is the word katagoreo, which goes back to the word category. Because that's what they do. They put everything into categories. So an accuser, they're gathering information, put it into categories, separating everything so that they can accuse and these to the Most High first and foremost, and then also, in this new system that they're planning to set up. It says to accuse before a judge to make an accusation of an extrajudicial accusation. Plaintiff, to charge with some offense, accuse, object. Right, but the word categorial, which is a category. Now, I don't know. I don't think they're going to say it. Accuser, a name given to the devil by the rabbis. Kata and agora, which is the marketplace, among the marketplace. All right, so let's go back to the article. So it says a defined list of individuals and groups who should be denied service. As more and more similarly minded tech companies followed suit, as happened with social media censorship, these deplorables would be deplatformed. See, so the people that do not follow protocol will be called deplorables. Another one is designated person. Like in that movie Falling Down. I am not economically viable. So debanked, see, and eventually denied access to the modern economy altogether as punishment for their unacceptable views. Unacceptable by who? Unacceptable by those who it goes against. Because what's happening is Esau is forced to look at the wrongs that he's done after erasing many things in history, that make them look bad. And this is why right now they're on a mission to take down all of these different statues of these colonizers and conquerors, because they're trying to erase that, because they're thinking that they're going to go on forever. So if they remove these things, eventually the younger generations to come won't know anything about it. And especially if they remove it out of books, because they're making books obsolete. That's why everything is going online. And there were certain individuals that protested books going online, because if you take the Bible, somebody has to manually put it up on there. And sometimes you have typos. But once it's up there, it's up there. So, because even when you go to the Apocrypha, right? When you go to the Apocrypha and you read certain things online, there's certain words that are typos, which you have to go back to the book form in order to see what was actually there, So that's what they're doing. They're making things obsolete because they're trying to hide the wickedness that they've done. This is the book of Habakkuk 2 and 15. And the 15th verse goes hand in hand with what we just read about the accuser of thy brethren. Woe to him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth thy bottle to him, and maketh him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. So you're making them do things that's going to make them sin against the Lord, so that you can look upon them, so you can have something to accuse the Heavenly Father of us, right? Thou art filled with shame for glory. Yeah, because your glory that you have, which is the whole entire world, is based off of shame. There was a woman. I'm not sure if she was Ishmaelite or whatever the case was, and there was something, I can't remember exactly, but she was pretty much cursing Esau out as to the things and how they got to where they are. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Just bear with me 1 second. All right. I might have erased it. Oh, here we go.
Let's talk about nuclear weapons. Okay. Some of our viewers may say, we cannot trust Iran. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts?
I don't think we can trust this country. I mean, what has this country done to the majority of the countries in the Middle East? I don't think Iran's having nuclear weapons. I'm a pacifist. I don't believe in violence. But also, when we look at the legacy of imperialism and colonization in the Middle East, and we see the legacy of this country and all of the violence that it has not only created, but also created the capacity for. A lot of these weapons in the Middle East are completely brought in by the United States.
A lot of Americans might take offense to that. You're an American. You don't sound like an American when you say that. You know what I mean?
That's because I've read, and I think that it's really important that we look beyond sort of these really simple narratives that we're told, whether it's about Muslim women, whether it's about the legacy of this country, and knowing that this country literally was built on the backs of black slaves and after the genocide of indigenous what they're wearing.
Let's talk about nuclear weapons.
So pretty much she gave him the verbal business. She told him the truth. So this says, thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee. And this is what's happening. The cup of the Lord's right hand is being turned on them. The truth is coming out, and it's peeling back all of that cheap veneer that they have, and it's exposing the wickedness that they've done. It says, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Right. So the way that you got things and the adoration that the world has for you or had for you is waning, because the truth is coming out and how you got these things, and everybody's starting to wake up. Not everybody, but a lot of people are starting to wake up to your wickedness, to the shit that you've done. So let's look up the word shameful spewing. The word there is kwalawam, disgrace, shame, shameful spewing. Let's just look up the word disgrace. Is the opposite of grace. Disgrace, loss of reputation or respect as a result of a dishonorable action. And that's exactly what you've done. And that's exactly what's happening. The truth is turning your lies upside down, and it's exposing, what you've done to the world. And people are waking up, and that's why they're able to make things of that. No, I don't have a link. That was just something that was sent to me on my phone. So I don't have a video. It's not an actual video. It's just something that it was a video that somebody sent, but it wasn't something. It looks like a short, but it was just something how I guess a brother recorded it and sent it. So I don't really have a link to that video. So Salakia for that. But if you're looking to try to do a video on it, you could go to this video and and record just that clip there, and maybe you put the link in the okay, right here. No, that's something else. I guess the brother said he put the link in here, but I don't see it. Okay, Elder Manat Zakba put it in there. All right, so when you get a chance, you could take a look at it. Okay, yep, it's on there. The water. Oh, okay, that was Elder Yashawamba that put that up. Got him. Okay, the water. All right. All right, so let's go back to the article. So pretty much people that don't go along, they're going to be cut out of this up and coming system. That prediction has become reality. What I could not have anticipated is that it would occur first in our mild-mannered neighbor to the north, with the Canadian government itself directing the reprisals. Yeah, because remember back in the days when something would go down and Jake was running from, trying to be recruited into the military or whatever the case was, they would run, the so-called Americans would run up to Canada for refuge. Can't do that no more because this is a worldwide system. Nowhere to run to, baby. Nowhere to hide. There's nowhere you could go. The only thing that can be done at this point is, excuse me, the only thing that can be done at this point is that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai step in to help us out. This is why King David said this, because King David, this is something of the future. It says prayer for deliverance from secret enemies. Right. So it says, hear my voice, O Most High, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Yeah, because enemies are everywhere. You have infiltrated. You have Esau as the main enemy. You have the other nations that are the enemies after that. And then you have people within our own nation that are enemies. And then you have some of our own people that have infiltrated the Hebrew Israelites, whether they're cops, whether they're feds, CIA agents, DTs, whatever the case may be, whatever an agency out there, to try to spy out our liberty. But they're not going to find anything, not with Great Millstone, because all we do is teach the word. What you see us do in the public, that's what we do at home. That's what we do when we're with brothers. But this is where the demonization comes in. That's why the movie Asher, which they try to bring out, it was somebody that infiltrated the group to do something to make the group look bad. And that's what they do. Because the bottom line, all we're doing is speaking and teaching the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and waiting for the Lord to make the move. We ain't gonna do shit but teach until the Lord said that's enough. Now I'm gonna bring the pain. That's what we're waiting for. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. Yeah, because it is a secret counsel. They've been doing these things in secret for a long time. And then they keep, but what it is they do something called gradualism, because they gradually or little at a time present it to people, whether they put it in movies, whether they put it in cartoons, whether they put it in whatever. They'll put it in a news, article, or on TV, or, they'll do something that they'll present it in a certain way, maybe by a athlete or someone famous. But they gradually push this stuff into the people. So by the time they realize it, they're already smack dab in the middle of it. Stuck in the middle with you. Inside joke. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Because remember, this is something that they do on a regular. They can't sleep unless they do some evil. Let's go real quick before we read on. Let's go to Micah. And if you get a chance, you could read through the whole article. The whole article is good. If we don't get a chance to read, I want to try to see if we could get back to it. But if the Spirit don't want any more to come out, then enough is out that needs to be out. Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds, because they sleep sweetly when they do evil and wickedness. It's not in them to do good. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. They're poison as the poison of an adder. And there's nothing. They have nothing but serpent's venom. It's nothing but evil. And when you look at these devils, when you look at like devils like when he was alive, David Rockefeller or any of those Rockefellers or Rothschilds or anything, you could look into their spirit and see the evilness. Especially them goddamn Rockefellers. You could see that evil demonic spirit in them. It says, when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Yeah, because they're able to do it because they're in power. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. You know? So on earth, they have that godlike power. And what even cements it more is that the Most High himself gave him that power on the left-hand side. So let's go back to Psalm 64:2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, because they're going to do an insurrection. They're going to actually, it's going to be an onslaught on the people. First and foremost, it's going to be voluntary through deception. People are going to be, they're going to be fed this bullshit as the serpent, which was the actual man, fed to Eve in the garden. And she accepted it. That's why most people are going to accept it. But there's going to come a point where the resistors, they're going to step to the resistors. Right? And building off that, I'm going to, the word is ragash, insurrection. Throng in company. Throng, right. So when you throng somebody, you're rolling up on them. Like when Yahweh said, who touched me? And he looked around. And the disciple said, Lord, you see the masses are thronging us. You're saying, who touched me? Because they were in the midst of a bunch of people. So that's what an insurrection is. It's an uprising. The government is going to uprise against those that fear the Lord. The Israelites, especially the Hebrew Israelites, which are the main threat to these devils. So, with that being said, before I read on, you have this movie called Demolition Man, or Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes, right? And this is pretty much a picture of the future. All right, and when you watch the movie, everything that was in this movie back, I believe this was like 95 or something like that this was made, if I'm not mistaken. Everything that you see going on back then in the movie is actually happening right now. The majority of things you see in that movie are actually happening right now. To where they're trying to ban all different type of stuff. Sex is one of the main things. Natural procreation is another, which is the same thing, The movie 1984 showed you that, where it was against the law for a man and a woman to get together. Man. And I found this page here, which I put in the description box. This just explains a lot of the terminologies in the movie, right? But one of them I looked up was tracking chip, right? It says, as part of Cocteau's master plan, almost everyone in San Angeles had an organic organic charagma implanted in them. Sensors around the city can determine the exact location of any of them at any time. And then you have the people that were ousted out of the system were called scraps, right? The scraps clearly don't have charagmas implanted. See? So these were the outcasts of society because they didn't want to partake in that system. So now I looked up the word scrap. The word scrap is a small piece or amount of something, especially one that is left over after the greater part has been used. Discarded metal for processing. Discard or remove from service a retired, old, or inoperative vehicle, vessel, or machine, especially so as to convert it to scrap metal. So pretty much they were ousted from society. And that's what they were called, the scraps. Not the scraps from Longshank's table, inside joke. It says the scraps clearly don't have charagmas implanted, or Cocteau's forces would have hunted them down before the movie started. Of course, it's possible there are no sensors in the underground ruins of Los Angeles, or they're so deep down that the charagmas can't broadcast a signal to Cocteau, or however the hell you pronounce that name. Phoenix is also noted as one having a charagma, as he was frozen before the charagmas were implemented. Or not having a charagma, as he was frozen before the charagmas were implemented. And Spartan, being frozen at the same time, had one implanted right after being defrosted. Now, when you scroll back up here, there's another one. It goes into the Elon Muskie, Elon Musk. Right here, neural implanting. Part of a cryo rehab is giving people skills and the desire to use them, right? So what they did was they put something in their brain, which the character that Wesley Snipes played had it. That's why when he tried to kill Cocteau or whatever the hell his name is, he wasn't able to squeeze the trigger because he was programmed not to. Man, these devils, boy, they got this whole sci-fi world planned, for the world. But the thing about it is the Lord is going to step in because it's really the Lord's plan. It's really the Lord's charagma. On the left-hand side. The Most High is a master chess player, the master strategist. So, back in Psalm 64:3, who whet their tongue like a sword, meaning the word whet, this W-H-E-T, is, I was thinking about the movie Training Day. Oh, Lord. Who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, right? And these bitter words are what? The implementation of the so-called New World Order. And they're not going to be able to accomplish it because they're talking about they're going to do this, they're going to do that. They're going to have this in place. And that's why everything is moving digital, man. But yet you have these other groups that keep insisting that the MOTB is not the charagma. That they may shoot in secret at the perfect, right? Because they're doing it in secret. And a lot of jakes are going to get caught up in this new system. It says, suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. Yeah, because they don't have any fear of the Lord. Because they figured since they have Jake in such a bad way, such a bad spot, constantly committing all type of abominations and iniquities towards the Most High, that the Most High ain't going to do nothing to them. That's why it says in Psalms 51, thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself. Because they've seen all the evil that they've done to us since the late 1400s, all the way up to present day, and nothing has really happened to them. But the Lord got something special for you. It's going to make anything that ever happened in the world to take a back seat. The flood and all of them different great Sodom and Gomorrah, they're going to look at this and be like, wow. They thought that in their day, there was some real serious shit going down. But it's going to be nothing like this show that the Most High is about to let loose, on the world. It says they encourage themselves in an evil matter, right? They commune of laying snares privately. And these are nothing but traps, snares that they're laying privately. And the people are accepting it, thinking it's a good thing, but it's a deception. When you go to the book of Revelation, it tells you that. That the by the miracles that they had power to do or something along those lines. All in Thessalonians, lying wonders. So it says, they say, who shall see them? Yeah, because they're so egotistical and so evil and so pompous that they don't think the Most High sees them. They search out iniquities, yeah, because they actually do. They search things out. This is why they put certain chemicals through the FDA into the foods that they've tested on Jake that penetrate and destroy at a molecular level a person's insides. And it's all done by so-called race. These different chemicals in the foods. And that's why there's so many Jakes that are sick. And then there's shit in there that's addictive. Like you have people that are addicted to drugs. You have people that are addicted to alcohol. You have people that are addicted to medication. Many other things. But then you have those that are addicted to food. Beautiful. I'm going to get this right here. I was thinking about Revelation 16, but the up and coming elder Gabar Howard that put it up. Revelation 13:14 KJV. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which they have power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they, that they should make an image. Oh, here we go. That they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. I was about to mess with the brother, but I ain't gonna mess with him. I was gonna say, hey brother, you getting old. Usually you have both of them up, quick. Well, I'm just messing with you, bro. You get everybody getting old, baby. Just messing with you, bro. It says they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search. Matter of fact, let's look up this word search or search out. Search out. Chapash. To search for, to search out, disguise oneself. So pretty much to search out. And it's not just a thing where, let's say you got a box full of stuff and you're looking for something and you just take a quick glance in there and say, it ain't there because you ain't digging it. No, they digging in there. They looking into everything that's in there till they find what they need to find. It says they accomplish a diligent search. So when you searching something diligently, man, you're not leaving any stone unturned. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. See? Because what they have in their mind, they're not really telling the people, but they are indirectly by these predictive programming that they do. Boy. You know what? Get rid of this person, man. It says, but the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. Yeah, because their whole system and their whole empire is going to be taken down by those nuclear missiles. That's going to be the ending of these devils. All right. Because that's what in the movie Planet of the Apes, the second one, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, they had a missile in there, and in the missile on the fins of it or the tripod, it had Alpha and Omega on it. Alpha is the beginning, Omega is the end. Because the missiles, to be honest, the missiles was the beginning of Esau's power, because that's the blessing that they got. But it's also going to be the end of their power, because that's what the Most High is going to use to destroy them, along with the Yahushua and the angels and the chariots. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. And that's why you have a lot of these individuals that were once a part of it coming out and speaking against it, because they didn't realize how evil it is. Or it could just be that they just controlled opposition, to fulfill what the Lord said. Damn, brothers are putting some bombs on here. Oof, golly. You know what? I must be allowed to read some of them. All right. Job 20:4, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. That's right. And that's self-explanatory. Isaiah 32:7, the instruments also of the churl are evil. Yeah, that's Esau. Their instruments are evil. He devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, because they're saying one thing, but they really mean something else, even when the needy speaketh right. And that's the bottom line. Job 5:14, they meet with darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in the night, and the Most High is going to disappoint their devices. It says, Ecclesiastes 12:16, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. And that's exactly what these devils are doing. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Wow, man. I can't keep up. Can't keep up with you, bros. All right, so let's go back. It says, all that see them shall flee away. That's right, because you have some Edomites and other nations that are seeing what's going on and they're running away. But then you have Israelites also waking up to the truth and seeing what these devils are up to and fleeing away from them. All men shall fear and shall declare the work of the Most High, for they shall wisely consider of his doing. The righteous shall be glad in the Lord and shall trust in him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. Yeah, because they're not going to be able to do anything to the elect of the Most High. They're going to fail miserably. They're not going to be able to prevail, even though they feel in their heart that they will, but they won't. All right, so let's go back to this article. See what else we could glean off of it. It says it remains to be seen whether Canada will be a bellwether for the U.S. or I believe I looked up the word bellwether. It's like a leader, in some future event or something like that for the U.S. But anyone who cares about the future of America as a place where citizens are free to protest their government needs, to understand what has just occurred and work to stop it from taking root here. And you're not going to stop it because they have an agenda, and pretty much that's what they're doing. Anyone that speaks against them, they want to shut them out, shut them down. For the past 3 weeks, thousands of truckers have gathered in Ottawa and along the Canada-America border in protest of the Crown Vic 19 restrictions and mandates. Rather than engage with them or listen to their concerns, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau first announced them as having unacceptable views. And that's how it starts. The unacceptable views is you're saying things that don't comply with the system that is being put in place. So you must be removed. It said then he demonized them as white supremacists, racists, and swastika wavers. And people say, "Oh, they're just talking about the white supremacists." Man, today is the white supremacists, tomorrow is everybody else. That's just right now. That's just the scapegoat, for right now. On Monday, the rhetoric turned to action when Trudeau invoked the Emergencies Act. This heretofore unused 1988 law. See, so the law was unused. It was put into law in 1988. It was unused until what? Now, 2022. So how long ago was that? You see? So pretty much when they put these legislations in place, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees, they put these legislations in place. They plan on using them at a later date. Doesn't necessarily have to be used at that moment. All they want to do is get it passed into Congress as a law so that they can invoke it when needed. It says 1988 law gives the government virtually unlimited power for 30 days to deal with the crisis. Invoking the law under the present circumstance will require the threat of use of serious violence. And that's why it said there shall be an insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be as madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Yet the vast majority of protesters have been entirely peaceful, playing We Are the World and waving maple leaf flags. Indeed, the government has made little attempts to justify the needs for emergency powers beyond Trudeau's frequent bemoaning of the truckers' alleged hateful rhetoric. His public safety minister, Marco Mendocino, stated that such extraordinary measures were necessary due to intimidation, harassment, and expression of hate. Perhaps he doesn't realize that none of these are listed in the law as valid reasons to invoke it. Yeah, but a lot of times the language of this legislation is vague, so they can interpret it how they want to interpret it. Trudeau escalated things further on Tuesday night when he issued a new directive called the Emergency Economic Measures Order. Everything is going back to the economy. Because if you don't comply, you're getting shut out of the economy. It's going to be a worldwide system, an agenda, an economic agenda called the NWO. With the currency and information and records being on the Charagma. Invoking a war on terror law called the Proceeds of Crime and Terrorist Financing Act. So since when is asserting your rights considered to be a terroristic threat or act? It goes far beyond that, baby. The order requires financial institutions, including banks, credit unions, co-ops, loan companies, trusts, and even cryptocurrency wallets to stop. Wait a minute. So because you protesting and they label you a terrorist, They shut everything down for you. Your bank account, your credit unions, your co-ops, your loan companies, your trusts, and even cryptocurrency wallets. What's going on with that? Why does it seem like everything on this list has something to do with the economy? Because that's exactly what it is. They're molding people and shaping them into, you either get down with the program, you get down with the genie, or you out in the cold with the scraps. Providing any financial or related services to anyone associated with the protests, a designated person. This has resulted, according to the CBC, in frozen accounts, stranded money, and canceled credit cards. Come on, man. Because they're pushing the new system in place. Out with the old and with the new. That's what they're doing. It says banks, according to this new order, have a duty to determine if one of their customers is a designated person. Remember, we read over here. Which one was it? Was it this one? Yep. Let's bring this over. The social credit file. You have your basic information, other information, irregularities, and all of this information here determines on what list you're going to be. Red list or black list. You know? Either you're getting accepted or you're not. A designated person can refer to anyone who directly or indirectly participates in the protests, including donors who provide property to facilitate the protest through crowdfunding sites. In other words, a designated person could just easily be a grandmother who donated $25 to support the truckers as one of the organizers of the convoy. Because the donor data to the crowdfunding site GiveSendGo was hacked, and the leaked data shows that Canadian donated most of the $8 million raised. Many thousands of law-abiding Canadians now face the prospect of financial retaliation and ruin merely for supporting an anti-government protest. And pretty much, as brother's been saying, and I believe it's true, that this whole thing was a setup. You know, because remember, whenever you got these so-called conspiracy theories, as they call them, and they have a platform, they're always trying to do what? Trying to sell you something so that they can get your address, your information, your name. See? It's all a ruse to put everybody in a data bank, in the data bank. I guess I used the word right. In the data, and pretty much from there, the people, the government, they look into that, and that's how they. Okay, all these people right here, they are part of this. It's easy. This is something that's been working for them over and over and over and over and over again. They set up. The government is corrupt. They set up a group that expresses their anger and frustration against the government, which are pretty much nothing more than government agents. Then you have the people that are tired of the place that join that group because they really feel that this is something that they need to do because they're frustrated and tired. And all along, this group is doing nothing more but setting them up for slaughter. Let's see what else we got here. There was something I wanted to get real quick before. Oh, right here. This is good. Perhaps no one has been more enthusiastic than CNN contributor Juliette Kayyem Little Hat. She took to Twitter to encourage Trudeau's government to first slash the tires, empty gas tanks, arrest the drivers, and later to cancel their insurance, suspend their driver's licenses, prohibit any future regulatory verification for truckers, and other ideas that seem extreme until Trudeau adopted several of them. Trust me, declared Little Hat Kayyem. I will not run out of ways to make this hurt. One suspects Trudeau won't either, even as the coming end of the panhandle, Mick, renders this entire dispute irrelevant. Funny, it's almost as if cruelty is the point. Order out of chaos. Order out of chaos. You know? Oh, check this out. The self-conception of these pundits and politicians could not be more at odds with reality. They pose as defenders of democracy while invoking emergency powers without legislative or public debate, or without an emergency for that matter. They claim that diversity and tolerance are the highest values, while insisting that only one political point of view is acceptable and censoring the alternatives. Above all, progressive elites see themselves as the champions of the disadvantaged while demonizing working class men and women whose economic livelihoods have been devastated by the draconian policies. And it goes on and on. You know, you got all kind of information there. I thought there was something else, but at the end of the day, you know, this is where everything is heading. So now let's get into a couple more of these precepts. And then, we're already at an hour mark. Proverbs 28:11, the rich man is wise in his own conceit, but the poor that hath understanding searcheth them out. And this is what's happening right now. The Esau, which are the rich men, they're wise in their own conceit, but the poor, which are us, it says, the poor that hath understanding searcheth them out. And that's what the Lord has us searching them out. Because we represent the poor. And the Lord has us searching them out, exposing them. It says, when righteous men do rejoice, there is great glory. But when the wicked rise, a man is hidden. Yeah, because what's happening is, if you're standing up for what's right, you're being demonized. You're being blocked out. You're being locked out. Because the wicked are in authority. You know? That's why that one dude, I forget the guy's name, you know, he said that you want to find out who's in control, find out who you can't speak against or something along those lines. It says, verse 15, as a roaring lion and a raging bear, so is a wicked ruler over the people. Yeah. And that's what you see right now. Esau is that dragon. He's speaking as a dragon now. He's like a roaring lion and a raging bear. So is a wicked ruler over the poor people. The prince that wanted understanding is also a great oppressor, right? Because here it is. You have a prince that was set up into power, like these Rockefellers, Rothschilds, so on and so forth. And they don't have no real training. They're just beasts. The only training that they have is how to rip people off. You know? That's what the scriptures say. Blessed are you, land, when your king or your princes are the sons of kings or something like that, because they're trained properly in how in etiquette and how to conduct themselves and how to deal with the people and how to deal with financial situations and how to be just. It says, but he that hateth covetousness shall prolong his days, right? Because it's all about money. That's why these so-called politicians, you know, are in the pocket of the bankers, which own all of these big corporations. And right now, as it stands, you have like 5 major top corporations around the world. You know, I believe Blackstone is one of them. There's a couple other more that pretty much control everything you see. Everywhere you buy, I'm not going to buy from them because they're owned by us. Anywhere you buy, you buying from them. All right. got Elder Ariella. This man gets excited when he hears about this stuff. He's like a kid in the candy store. You should have seen him last night, you know, on the algo. That's beautiful. It says, now the logistics system will need to be re-regulated for the safety of the supply chain system. And to get Mando lifted, contactless digital system will be implemented. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you know, everything is being geared towards this it's being geared towards this system, you know. So the build back better or the reset or whatever they call it, that's right. It's prophecy. That's right. The reset whole thing is just about getting everybody on board with the charagma, and that system, because that's what that system is leading to. It says, a man that doeth violence to the blood of any person shall flee to the pit. Let no man stay him. It says, whoso walketh uprightly shall be saved, but he that is perverse in his way shall fall at once. Let's see what else we got. Verse 28. When the wicked rise, men hide themselves, but when they perish, the righteous increase. And that's why you had the scraps in the movie Demolition Man that went underground, because the wicked rose. The wicked rose up. All right, let's go from there to get a couple more of these. Proverbs 18:11. It says, the rich man's wealth is his strong city, and as an high wall, it's his wall in his own conceit. All right. Now let's go from there to Proverbs 22. This is one that we go to a lot. Proverbs 22:7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. And that's why Meyer M. Bauer said, give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who make the laws. And this is the reason why. Here it is. He said this, in the 1600s? And here it is in the 2022. And they're almost accomplished their goal, because they have total control. Let's jump down from there to the 16th verse. He that oppresseth the poor to increase his riches, and he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want. Yeah. And that's why people are in the condition that they're in, because ultimately they just want the super rich and the super poor. That's it. Nobody else, nobody in between. Let's go to Isaiah 10. And 1, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and their right grievousness which they have prescribed. Right. Because it was already written into law. And it's in there. Even though they might not use it for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. But as long as it's in there, they can invoke it at any time. Especially under so-called emergencies. To turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And this is what it's all ultimately about. What's the saying? You shall own nothing and you will be happy. What does that mean? That means that they plan on taking everybody's shit and rationing it back to you. Like the elders last night on the video, they did something dealing with a credit score and with you buying concerning CO2 emissions, and they deem what you could buy if it's essential or if not, if you can get it or not. So it's a system of total control of your body and soul. It's coming, man. Hey, and through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem El Shai, we've been telling you that it's coming. We've been speaking about the concentration camps. We've been speaking about, martial law. We've been speaking about the charagma. We've been speaking about the dystopian future that was coming. We've been speaking about all of these things, the famines and everything that's coming. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem El Shai. And it's just about here. Yep, the social credit system. Yep, they want to get rid of the middleman. All right, so it says, and what will you do in the day of visitation and in the desolation which shall come from far? To whom will you flee for help? And where will you leave your glory? Yeah, because you're going to run. You're going to run and you're going to hide. You're going to be running. You're going to be hiding, and you're going to be a sweating. Inside joke. That's why you international bankers, you're going to be running to your bunkers if you're not there already. Yeah, I must be allowed to read this one. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth. Why? Because it's going to be a worldwide system. You look up this word earth is gay or gi, where you get the word geo, which is earth. It's an entire planet. And of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Damn. Brother said we already have that in the UK, where some boroughs charge the resident tax for clean air. God damn. Well, remember in that movie, what was the name of that movie? Total Recall. Remember the people that lived underground, they were all deformed, and then eventually they turned their air off. Hey. It says environment, social, governance, credit score system. Yeah. And pretty much if you don't comply, you don't get to participate. So back in Isaiah 10:4, now this is the Lord speaking to Israel. Without me they shall bow down under the prisoners, and they shall fall under the slain. For all this his anger is now turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. Now the Lord is saying, O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. This is dealing with America, because the ancient Assyrian Empire did not have control over the whole world. Remember, they were rulers of an empire, but at one point they were subordinate to the Babylonian Empire. It says, I will send him against an hypocritical nation, which is Jake, and against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge. Right. To what? To punish Jake, because he is the rod of he's the Most High's rod. To take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. Right. And that's it said that they're going to cast you out of your homes. In 2 Ezra 16, it says, howbeit he meaneth not so, neither doth his heart think so. But it is in his heart to destroy and cut off nations, not a few. And they plan on doing this to the whole entire planet. That's all. Matter of fact, let's get it real quick, even though we read it. Habakkuk 2:5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people, because it's a one world government. Everybody under one rule. This is what every nation has tried to establish from the beginning of the earth, and have failed miserably. There will be a one world government, but it will be under Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Wa Yasha Allah, the true Israelites. Shall not all these take up a parable against? You can read the rest of that when you get a chance. So, let's see what else we got. Let's go back to Isaiah 10:12 now. Wherefore it shall come to pass that when the Lord hath performed his whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, which we're coming to that point now. Tell her that our warfare is accomplished. Speak ye comfortably to my people. We're coming to the end of our suffering. When the kingdom is established, the Lord said that all tears shall be wiped away. There's only going to be one more time where we're going to cry, and that's when we see the body of Yahushua, how it is, and how it was back, when he was crucified. That's the only time we're ever going to cry, just to see the great sacrifice that this man made for us, the Son of the Most High. I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria and the glory of his high looks. And this is definitely talking about Esau. Because them Assyrians were proud, but they're not as proud, or they were not as proud as the so-called American Edomite. It says, for he saith, by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people. So these devils really think that they've done all this on their own. It says, and have robbed their treasures, and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. Right. And you did that. Why? Because the Lord took away our power and allowed you to do these things by the power of your blessing, which was the sword, and by your deception. And my hand hath found as a net the riches of the people, and as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth. And the ancient Assyrians did not have all of the earth. because at one point they were subordinate under the Babylonian Empire. And there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or peeped. Right. There was nobody that could stop him. Just like when Alexander the Creep, when he started taking over the world, he moved swiftly. And there was nobody that could stop him. Why? Because that was their time. Time and chance happened to all men. Every nation had their time to rule. Then they had the time to go down. What goes up must come down. Inside joke. This a song. Of course, I didn't try to harmonize it because, I'm not a singer. It says, shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith? Or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it? Yeah, because the Most High is the one that's shaking you. You are the axe. The Most High is the lumberjack. So you could understand. As if the rod should shake itself against them that lift it up, or as if the staff should lift up itself as if it were no wood, because ultimately it's the Most High that's doing the shaking. Because there's a whole lot of shaking going on, but it's the Most High that's doing the shaking. Scripture say that he's going to hit him with them fanners. Yeah. Yep. He said Tom Petty got to be an Israelite. Yeah. A lot of them singers back then, them real melodic, soulful singers that look like Edomites, those are all Jakes, man. Esau ain't got a lick of soul in him, man. He ain't got no talent. It says, therefore shall the Lord of hosts, send among his fat ones leanness. Yeah, and that's dealing with your military, It says, and under his glory he shall kindle a burning like the burning of a fire, because the Most High is going to take you out in a spectacular way. And that's going to be by them nuclear missiles, the chariots, the lasers from the chariots. And don't be surprised if the Lord causes the elements in the air to form together and have fireballs shooting down on your ass too, on top of all of that. Oh yeah, BG's definitely Jakes. Oh hell yeah, you hear the way them guys sing? I was about to say rhyme. Ain't no way, no shit. Some Jakes can't sing like that. Shit. No, them white boys. Look at how they look. Look at how they sing. It says, and the light of Israel shall be for a fire, and his Holy One for a flame. Yeah, because when Yahweh Shai come back, boy, it's going to be fire and brimstone. And it shall burn and devour his thorns and his briars in 1 day, 1 hour. You see? That's all it's going to take. These ancient wars, they took time to fight. These ancient wars took years to fight. But this war is going to take an hour. When to the Lord devours Esau's power, Salakia. All right, you brothers can read the rest of that. I got a couple more precepts and then we'll close it out. I know it's going kind of long, but a spirit is abounding. So, this is the year to turn up, baby. So turn it up. All right, Micah 6:12. It says, for the rich men thereof are full of violence, and the inhabitants thereof have spoken lies, and their tongue is deceitful in their mouth. And this is Esau all the way, man. Now, this applies to Israel too, because Israel did a lot of wicked things. But whatever applies to Jake back then, now applies to Esau. Deuteronomy 30:7, Lamentations 4:21 and 22. It says, therefore also I will make thee sick in smiting thee and making thee desolate because of thy sins. It says, thou shalt eat but not be satisfied, and thy casting down shall be in the midst of thee. That's right. Because you're going down, devil. And thou shalt take hold and shalt not deliver, and that which thou deliverest will I give up to the sword. Thou shalt sow, but thou shalt not reap. Thou shalt tread the olives, but thou shalt not anoint thee with oil, and sweet wine, but thou shalt not drink. Yeah, because you devils ain't going to be able to. Scripture say that when they're about to fill a belly, the Lord shall cast the fury of his anger upon them. So you're not going to be able to enjoy your so-called New World Order. Let's see. We got 2 more precepts. I'm going to skip one of them. or I might go to it. Let's go to the Apocrypha, Sirach 13 or Ecclesiasticus 13 and 18. It says, what agreement is there between the hyena and the dog? And what peace between the rich and the poor? There is none. As the wild ass is the lion's prey in the wilderness, so the rich eat up the poor. And that's exactly what they're doing. That's why the Lord said, howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. As the proud hate humility, so doth the rich abhor the poor. And they avoid the poor like a plague. Because the word abhor does not mean hate. It means to avoid. All right. Now let's go real quick to James 5. I just want to go James 5:11. You can read the whole thing. James 5:11. Behold, we count them happy which endure. You have heard of the patience. No, that wasn't it. There was something else. Let me see something. Just bear with me because it was a pretty good precept. I thought it was there. Let's see. 3. Okay. All right. Now I thought it was, I don't know, maybe I saw something that wasn't there. Hold on real quick. There it goes. It's the first chapter. James 1:11. It says, for the sun is no sooner risen with a burning heat, but it withereth the grass, and the flower thereof falleth, and the grace of the fashion of it perisheth. So also shall the rich man fade away in his ways. The scripture in Job 20, that the triumphing of the wicked is short. And the last precept I want to leave you with is the book of Revelation chapter 6. And we're going to go straight to the point. 15. And the kings of the earth and the great men, this is when the destruction comes. And the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chief captains and the mighty men and every bondman and every freeman hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? That's why in the 5th chapter of James, let me just read that first verse. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you, because the destruction is just the beginning of your misery. The destruction is just the beginning of your misery. And after that, all your aspirations and dreams and the wickedness that you had, embedded in that demonic head of yours that you thought you were going to bring upon the world, is going to turn ugly for you, man. Man, it's going to be something. So with that, this has been, they've been telling you, that predictive program, the different, movies and stuff that have been coming out, and we're pretty much here, So with that, I pray that you brothers and your few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say shalom.